You're now listening to another episode of the Renegade Podcast. In this interview, I'm going to be speaking to Vivid Imaginations Studies. And he's a very interesting YouTuber, just about NBA, hip-hop. Last two videos have blown up recently, so it's going to be a very fun episode. In 3, 2, 1, go. Hello!
Hello?
How you doing, my man?
What's up, bro? How you doing?
I'm doing great. How about you?
I'm doing well, man.
All right, bro. Are you in the process of like making another video? Because I know the last two have like blown up like crazy.
Yeah, I'm writing it right now, like literally.
Okay. The first question I have is the name of the channel, like Vivid Imagination Studies. Like, was that a name you always thought of, or was that sort of a spur of the moment type of thing?
Vivid Imagination Studios. It came from a Cashier Quan song. I don't know if you know him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's like a kind of like local Detroit rapper.
Yeah.
And he has a song called Vivid Imagination.
Oh wow.
I'm always somebody who's always been creative, always been imaginative. Sometimes I just retreat into the sanctity of my mind.
Yeah.
So I feel like when I saw that title of his song, and it was a pretty dope song too. I feel like, yo, that's a dope name. I should, you know what I'm saying? That's how the name came about. And
Okay.
the studios party, it came from, I look at Tyler Perry Studios because ultimately the goal isn't just to, for me personally, isn't just to build a YouTube channel. I'm looking forward. Like I want to make movies and films and TV shows and even video games down the line. So
that's
I view it as a production company, and this is just the foundation of it.
Wow, that's remarkable. So what inspired you to like go into this direction? You don't see a lot of people, especially where you're at, like sort of have that type of ambition, not to this extent this early on.
Like I said, man, I've always, even like you said, people from where I am from, they don't have this type of, I wouldn't say ambition, because people definitely have ambition where I'm from, but they don't have the type of, people wouldn't consider making this type of content, where I'm from. They wouldn't, and I've always considered myself I kind of always have been like a little bit of an outsider.
Yeah.
It's kind of on the outside looking in type stuff. So I've kind of always just done my own thing and not necessarily relying on people, people from where I'm from to feed me that validation. You know what I'm saying? Because I understood that from a young age that I'm kind of different.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to approach things in a way that I thought that I would be dope. You know what I'm saying? Not necessarily looking at what's everybody around me doing, but what do I like to do? What am I good at? What kind of skills I have that can take me to where I want to go?
Wow, that's a great answer. So are you in college right now? Did you graduate? Like, how did your education sort of influence the stuff that you're doing right now?
Well, I did just graduate. I graduated from the University of Arkansas.
Wow.
In December.
Wow.
And I would say the way that it applies to my how my education has applied to my writing and my content creation.
Yeah.
Is my mom is an English teacher. She teaches 8th grade English.
Ooh.
So she always taught me how to write. I would go, even still to this day, I go to her to proofread my papers.
Oh wow.
Make sure that I'm still sounding coherent.
Yeah.
Make sure that I'm getting my message and my point across.
Yeah.
And she always just encouraged me to be a writer, and she would review my essays when I was in school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I had a lot of great teachers along the way as well that kind of shaped the way I write.
Yeah. So, here's the thing, right? I'm from Canada, right? I live in Mississauga, right? And we're not that far from, the six, Toronto and stuff. And like, how does sort of the school culture, like in Arkansas, sort of differ from like other places and stuff from your experience?
I would say, bro, just being honest, bro, I think Arkansas is like, literally, it's like one of the let me see how, it's one of the least educated states. Like,
Okay.
you look and we probably, out of the 50 states, we definitely somewhere in the low 40s.
Yeah. Wow.
So I would say that everybody doesn't get the same opportunity to have a good education that I got.
Okay.
I was very fortunate personally to go to some really good schools.
Yeah.
And be around some really great teachers.
Yeah.
And, to be in some really good classrooms and stuff like that. But everybody isn't as fortunate as me. And I'm very grateful to have a mother that really encouraged education, and she really took it seriously because she was a teacher herself. So I can only say myself.
Yeah, I don't want to interrupt you, but like that's the thing. Like I was sort of trying to get at in my last couple interviews is that like sort of it feels like education is like now this taboo word that like you go to school, you're this, you're that, you're a nerd, yada yada yada. And that's always been there, but for some reason, recently, it feels like anti-intellectualism has been the big thing, which is like it boggles my mind. It's not a flex to be ignorant about everything, just because you don't want to look at things deeper than the surface level. That's why I really like your last couple videos, because you give a reason why things are the way they are. I may not agree with your conclusion, but at least there's a structure to it, right?
Like I say, man, ignorance is really bliss, man. To carry around like the burden of knowledge, to know that everything that we're kind of seeing is a facade.
Yeah.
It's kind of, that's a heavy burden, and a lot of people don't want that burden on top of all the other problems that exist in life.
Yeah.
So, I think people retreat into anti-intellectualism because it doesn't force them to have to challenge their own mind or challenge their own perspective. They can safely, they can exist safely without, having to overanalyze or overthink. A lot of times I do consider myself to be somebody who's an overthinker, or I might overanalyze things.
Yeah.
But clearly it's been working to my benefit so far. So
yeah, because it's interesting because like you mentioned to me, you said this on Instagram, like you live in Arkansas, right? And Arkansas is sort of this kind of, because it's kind of this sort of stereotype that Arkansas is like one of the more sort of, I don't know, like, is it like one of the more racist states? Did you ever have to deal with sort of racism in some type of way?
Yeah, man, Arkansas is definitely that. Being one of the southern states, like I said, being one of the poorest educated states, and being one of the poorest financially states as well. We were big in the Confederacy back during the Civil War.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of racist encounters. Just being young, growing up, you seen Confederate flags driving out in the deep South.
Yeah. Did that like freak you out? Like when you were younger, you didn't sort of understand why these people were so sort of knee deep in these beliefs, or did you just realize this is just part of the course down there?
For me, I'm like, when I'm seeing that as a kid, I'm like, I'm thinking, because I think the way they present education in Arkansas as well is like, all these events happened. The Civil War, it was a Revolutionary War, then the Civil War happened, then the World Wars, and then the 60s and race, like segregation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Martin Luther King, race relations and all that. But Martin Luther King died, and after that, everything was good. Everybody was happy, and everybody lives happily ever after.
Yeah, that's not history, man. Like, not even close.
That's how they try to portray it in Arkansas history.
Wow.
So I'm growing up, and I'm seeing Confederate flags when I'm going down in the deeper South, and I'm like, whoa, this is still happening right now. I thought everything was peaches and gravy. I thought, I thought everything was good. I thought everything was settled. So just seeing that as a young kid, it made me realize, like, oh, this stuff is still going on.
Yeah, that is scary for sure. Like, how do you sort of combat that? Like, obviously, there's the overt racism down south, but there's sort of like the microaggressions and the backhanded compliment racism and all those other stuff. Like, how do you sort of combat that? Because there's a lot of layers, with that type of stuff.
I think, I know I'm kind of describing Arkansas in this kind of way, but ultimately, I think there's good people here.
Yeah.
Arkansas is not a monolith. These people are not. It's not all 100% racist. It's not all. I know they would want to portray us as hillbillies and hicks and all this kind of stuff. But the reality is really good people out here.
Yeah.
It's really good people on that are black and white.
Yeah.
And everything in between. So for me to say that everybody's one kind of way here,
yeah,
that would be disingenuous to the great people that I've encountered. Like I said, I had great white teachers. I've had great black teachers.
Yeah.
And so, but also me I'm from the city part of Arkansas.
Yeah.
Like, I'm Little Rock, the capital city. So that's as close as you're gonna get to kind of relatively a sense of a normalcy as far as race relations go.
Yeah.
Obviously, it still plays a part in everyday culture, and you know, you can see it, but it's a lot more. And a lot of times, I believe Little Rock is one of the few blue cities in Arkansas.
Yeah.
That votes blue. Just being from the capital city. So, that's just my experience personally.
Okay, that's a very interesting answer. You mentioned that the Little Rock is a blue city. Did you vote in the election last year?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, all right. Because obviously, because it's funny because I was watching the election coverage up north, right? And I was watching CNN, and I was shocked. Like, I wasn't shocked, but I was really shocked. Like, really surprised that I saw Arkansas already was declared sort of a Republican state, right? Like, is the Trump support is it really overt, or people are people sort of really sneaky with it, that type of thing?
I would say it's kind of a mixed bag. You got people that are overtly Trump supporters. They'll let you know. They come in. They have their hats on.
Yeah.
They have their bumper stickers.
Yeah.
They have their flags planted in the ground.
Yeah.
At their homes and stuff like that. But so that's how some people are. But other times, like you said, it's a little bit more covert. It's in the things that they say.
Yeah.
In the way that they talk to you.
Yeah.
In the way that they try to carry your conversation.
Yeah.
In the things that they mention. But but you'll still see. I see kind of Harris walks flags planted on people's ground, stuff like that. So, it is a lot of that. I won't lie and say that it's not, but there's also people that are sensible, I'll say.
Okay. So let's talk about really your last two videos that have blown up like crazy, right? Because I feel like the two videos that you released are sort of kind of like a two-parter, right? And to sort of discuss the sort of different sides of sort of the same issue. Were those two videos something that you always wanted to do, or were they something that was sort of kind of in the moment type of thing?
sometimes with me, I just get a random idea.
Yeah.
And I get a random idea, and I have like a note section in my phone where I organize all my ideas.
Yeah.
So it didn't start off as necessarily these specific topics.
Yeah.
It started off as, hey, maybe I should do video essays as well.
Yeah.
And then we'll transition into, all right, I'll do video essays. What am I gonna talk about? What's on my mind?
Yeah.
And I feel like these issues, specifically the first one, was something that had been floating through my mind for the longest. That was something that was really on my mind.
Yeah.
I just didn't know how to put voice to it, how to put words to it, and convey my thoughts.
Yeah.
In a way that people could listen and could hear me, because I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a really interesting answer. Did you expect those videos to like blow up the way it did, or did you sort of kind of expect that there's going to be a response to them?
I'm somebody who's big on the law of attraction, the law of assumption, manifestation, and all that kind of stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I know, and I believe highly about speaking things into existence, speaking things into fruition.
Yeah.
So I knew that my channel, my YouTube channel, was gonna be successful.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
I had been having a channel for about 2 years. I started in my junior year of college.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to find my niche, to
Yeah.
find my audience and stuff like that, to cultivate content where I could reach a mass audience, because I realized that I could only get so far catering to my college audience and to Arkansas people in general.
Yeah.
So, so I always knew I was going to be successful. I always spoke it into existence. It was just, took the right amount of studying. I was watching other YouTubers, like tips on how to blow your channel up, how to be successful, how to learn about the algorithm and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I would watch these videos, I would take notes, and I would really study them.
Yeah.
And so I took my time in doing that.
Yeah.
And I took the lessons I learned from watching those type of videos, and I used it to apply it to myself. But these videos in particular, for me, I was never on the mindset of, well, this has to work, this has to be successful, because I'm somebody who's just I'm gonna keep chipping away at it until I find something, until I find an answer or something, or some kind of success. I'm gonna keep working, even if the videos got no views at all. I wouldn't care, because I'm not doing it necessarily for monetization or for the profit. I believe that I have a voice, and Fabio Foreign said it in a song, you got a voice, then you got to project it. So even if my videos have no views, if they got 50 views, if they got 1,000, then I'm going to still keep making this content. I'm going to still keep working. I'm going to still keep chipping away at it. And that was always my mindset. Now, when I saw that, I'm gaining more subscribers and I'm gaining more followers, I know this is a long-winded answer, but I'm seeing that I'm gaining more subscribers. I'm seeing I'm gaining more views and stuff like that. Then that's amazing. I'm grateful for that. I was grateful when I got 50 views. My early videos, some didn't get over 100. But if they got 50, I was grateful for that. I was grateful for 100. So I'm seeing them the first video gradually blow up. It get 500, then it gets 1,000. I'm like, man, I'm doing great. I'm grateful. So to see that, it was amazing. But I knew it was gonna happen in due time.
Okay, that's a very interesting answer, because I always have sort of set questions I ask every person that I interview, right? And that question, usually I get a whole different bunch of answers, right? some say what you're saying, right? Sort of they always expected it to happen, right? And the other people say, you know, I wasn't expecting it, or I wasn't even planning onto it. So this sort of leads into another question: what is the future of the channel, right? Or sort of future of the studio production thing in general? What's the future of it?
Well, like I said, I'm in the process of writing my next video essay right now, so I'm going to continue to do more video essays. But also I want to build like a hub. Okay. And what I like going on, I love the discussion. If you see me in the comments, I'm engaging with people. Yeah. I'm showing gratitude and stuff like that. So I love that I can build a community. Yeah. And and have a forum for discussion. Yeah. So I want to continue that kind of, but also I want to continue to direct music videos. Okay. And to direct and to cultivate my podcast as well. I have a podcast called the Vivid Imagination Podcast. Okay. So I'm continuously working on that. I'm working on booking some guests myself. So. Oh wow. That's kind of what I have in mind for the near future. But soon it's gonna continue on from that. I'll tell you something that I have in mind to do. I wrote a script for a short film. Damn. So when I get that into production, that's definitely gonna go up on the channel as well. And we're gonna continue to build from there. So
you mentioned that you watch sort of different like YouTubers to sort of kind of help you out, trying to sort of figure out the direction of your channel. Like, what are some of your influences kind of on YouTube and stuff for your own channel?
I like watching interviews because they give me insight into artist perspective and stuff like that. Yeah. I watch Breakfast Club interviews. I watch back in around like 2017, 2018, Joe Budden and Academics had to show everyday struggle, and that definitely played a part into me learning about hip hop media and how the industry works. Even though I probably know way less than somebody that's actually involved. Yeah, I listen to people and I take what I can. I'm somebody that's big on that. Yeah. But people that I like on YouTube, I watch a lot of FD Signifier, his work.
Shout out to him, bro. Shout out to him, man.
Yeah, I love his channel. This guy called July Jackson.
Yeah, shout out to her.
Great Art Explained. This channel, they break down like art, stuff like that, and historical pieces of art that have been considered like great all time, like Mona Lisa. Yeah. And I have this painting by Caravaggio in my house. Wow. And, I watch his videos, but stuff like that. I really like watching interviews and video essays. They give me a lot of insight.
Wow, that's interesting. So like, because I actually did come across one of your music videos that you directed, and I really like how, sure, it was a little bit amateurish, granted, but I really like there's a sense of like purpose and style and direction, and you didn't sacrifice anything on the substance side. It felt I got a lot of like Hype Williams, Director X type of vibes. The way that you were directing it, were those people an influence? Was that something sort of a kind of a coincidence type of thing?
No, I'm definitely inspired by those guys. Definitely, I'm big. I'm somebody who's a very big visual learner. So watching those people that you mentioned, watching Cole Bennett from Lyrical Lemonade, he definitely plays a part. Larry June music videos, he's able to cultivate style. He used to shoot with this guy named Girls Love Trey, but he passed away.
Yeah, rest in peace.
But I'm aware that they kind of do look amateurish, but something that I'm mindful of and something that a lot of people don't know is I don't have any budget. I was a college student for the longest. Like I said, I just graduated in December. So I have no budget, no allies helping me, nobody helping me shoot. It's just me, a camera, and my vision. So I was working with the resources that I had when I'm making these videos. And even still to this day. like when I'm recording my video essays, I don't have a mic or anything. I'm recording into an app on my phone.
Yeah.
And then I go back into it and I edit it and I try to take out my breaths and then the outside noise and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, so I'm still somebody who's learning every single day. I just know that ultimately I'm reach where I want to go. I'm gonna get the resource that I need. I'm gonna be surrounded by people that can help me put it together and stuff like that. So, I'm just in the present moment right now, and I believe that you have to make the most of what you have instead of complaining. Because if you have a mindset, well, if I get this, when I get this $1,500 camera, then I'm gonna start making music videos. Like, no, I had to take the leap and start shooting videos with a $200 camera. Yeah, and you know, if you had a mindset of when I gain enough confidence, when I feel more confident in myself, or when I get out of school, then I'll start doing things. Like, nah, I'm sowing the seeds for what I want to do in the future right now.
Wow, that's a brilliant answer. I mean, I feel like I sort of operate the same way. I mean, for the longest time, I always wanted to start a podcast because I was inspired by guys like, Joe Rogan and Pivot Podcast and a little bit of FD Signifier and all that stuff, right? And Club Shay Shay. Actually, there's this interview that, do you watch Club Shay Shay?
Yeah.
All right. So there's an interview that he did with Terry Crews, right? Mm-hmm. Dope interview. Dope interview, right? And I watched the whole thing, right? I don't watch interviews because they're 2 hours long. I usually just watch those in chunks, but I watched it whole thing, right? Because I had time, and I was just struck by how genuine the conversation was, right? And I was struck just by it felt like two guys just shooting the shit with each other, right? And the amount of just sort of cues and knowledge I gained from that was unlike anything else I ever seen. And I'm like, if he can do it, right? Why can't I do something like that? Right? Granted, I don't have the budget or the notoriety. I'm not an NFL player or anything like that. I don't have that type of clout. But if I can just sort of get a couple guests, build out a resume, and then eventually I'll get to where I want to get to. Granted, for me, I feel like I'm one of the more luckier ones, right? Because one of my first guests was a rapper, right? He had like 14K on his Instagram, on his socials. He was sort of kind of present. And then next thing you know, I'm interviewing somebody with over 1 million subscribers, Solar Sands. And it's like momentum, right? I had to keep it up, but I always know that, like, there's a saying, right? Have you heard of Les Brown?
Who is it?
Les Brown. He's like this motivational speaker.
No, I never heard of bro.
Okay. So he says, because he did this sort of little kind of conversation with this. He did this little, like, it was kind of like a sermon, but not really. So he said, like, people keep saying, like, practice makes perfect. Well, really, practice makes improvements. You can always better your best. You always can go beyond whatever you think you're capable of, but you never will reach a state of perfection, right? But if you keep practicing, right, then you might reach that sort of state where to you it's perfect, right? So,
yeah, no, that's real.
Yeah, for sure. Have you ever, like, I know you just sort of started doing YouTube the last couple months, but have you ever, like, scrapped a video or an idea you had for a video?
Yeah. I've been doing, like, it's probably been about 2 years since I started YouTube. I'm just now kind of finding my footing, but yeah, it's a lot of videos that get scrapped, a lot of ideas that get scrapped. You might just not work at the time. Yeah. Or the idea might work. I just need to tweak it. Yeah. But it's definitely projects that get scrapped for sure.
Can you sort of give me, like, an example of that, or?
It was a lot of videos of me, like, just when I'm trying to find my way, when I'm trying to find my niche, and when I'm trying to find the voice my voice. It's a lot of videos that get scrapped along the way. You know, it might be you know, when I came into the YouTube game, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just putting out content.
Yeah.
If people want it, you know, great. If they don't, then that's okay too, because I'm not really doing it for the views and the likes and the monetization and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, like, I was doing vlogs. I had podcasts up.
Yeah.
I was just ripping and running, trying to figure out.
Yeah.
What's my niche? You know, what do I like doing? What am I good at?
Yeah.
What's my unique value proposition, as they say? You know, what sets me apart from other people that can that can get me somewhere. So along trying to figure out that process, there was a lot of content that got left on the cutting room table.
Yeah.
And, you know, even a lot of my older videos, I kind of just archived them just because they don't really fit with the brand identity that I have that I'm trying to build going forward.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really interesting answer. So, do you have, like, obviously, you know, there's YouTubers where, like, when they reach a certain amount of subscribers, they sort of do, like, this sort of thank you or, like, a stream or whatever celebrating it. If you do reach, like, 1,000 subscribers or 5,000 and beyond, would you do something like that, or is that not really your thing?
You know, I try to engage with my audience. Maybe people don't necessarily always see it, but I do want to put it out there. And my personal Instagram is deactivated right now, so I can't even, you know, share. You know, I'm somewhat on my Vivid Imagination Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not really active like that. Like, the app is deleted. You know, that's why I was trying to, you know, find, like, correspondence between you and I. So I really don't try to be on Instagram all that often unless my personal page is back often. But for one, on YouTube, I posted like a gratitude message. I'm somebody who's big on gratitude, showing gratitude. Yeah. To my newfound audience, the people that discovered the channel, the people that stumbled across the channel, I want to say thank you for subscribing. Yeah. Thank you for tapping in. Thank you for checking out my video. Yeah. And when I get back on my personal Instagram, then I'll also, you know, let my followers, because shit, they probably don't even know what's going on. I'm not really all that on social media like that. So a lot of people from back home, they don't even know what I got going on right now. They don't know the success that I'm having. So I'll post like a congratulatory message to myself and a gratitude type of message to the people that follow me when I get back on my Instagram. Yeah. That's another avenue. I'm glad you mentioned stream. That's another avenue I'm gonna pick up here soon. Yeah. Probably after I drop my third video, I'm gonna start doing streams and stuff like that, doing live streams where people can come in and engage with me. You know, we can have these kind of open discussions and stuff like that, because I really do enjoy hearing people's takes and hearing people respond to me and me responding back. I love that level of engagement. You know. Wow.
You mentioned sort of a couple artists that you listen to. Who's the artist that really got you into music and hip hop in general, and why?
When I was really young, I was really big on Michael Jackson. Like, after he passed, obviously, you know, I was a kid when he died, so I really didn't know much about him or anything like that. But when he did die, I was listening to his albums back and forth and stuff like that, like all the way through. Yeah. Then I became, you know, hip hop. Hip hop is always on the radio. Yeah. Hip hop has always been ingrained in who I am and who black people are in the culture. It's like the dominant form of music. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, growing up, I was listening to the radio and stuff like that, and then I would come home and listen to 106 in Park and stuff like that on BET, where they would like preview the top 10 hottest songs right now, top 10 hottest music videos, which is another way I really got invested into watching music videos and just coming home from school and watching 106 in Park. Yeah. But the first rapper that I was super big on was Lil Wayne. And to me, when I first discovered him around like 2010, 2011, that was my favorite. I know everybody has a favorite era of Wayne, but my favorite era was like 2011 when he just dropped the Carter 4.
Yeah.
I was just,
I was fire.
I was, I was big on Wayne for sure. And then, that started my segue into hip hop in general, just going back and listening to the old heads and then being updated on what's current.
Yeah.
But that's how I really delve deep into the history of hip hop. It started with Lil Wayne for real.
Wow. Do you listen to anything? I know you mentioned Michael Jackson, but do you listen to anything outside of hip hop, like R&B or pop or electronic music or whatever?
I definitely enjoy a lot of R&B artists right now.
Yeah.
I like Daniel Caesar, Party Next Door. I'm listening to a lot of their albums right now.
Yeah.
Even on the female side, Mariah the Scientist, I love her music.
Yeah.
SZA is dope.
Yeah.
Summer Walker has a lot of great tracks. But one of my friends, how should I say this? One of my lady friends or whatever.
Yeah.
She just sent me this big playlist of 90s R&B, like early 2000s 90s R&B. So I'm knee deep in that playlist right now.
Yeah. Like Aaliyah and early Beyonce and stuff.
Exactly. Those type of artists.
Okay.
But my friend sent me like a big playlist of rock music as well.
Wow.
Grunge and stuff like that. Another artist I want to mention is Lauryn Hill as well.
Shout out Lauryn Hill.
My friend sent me a big playlist of like rock bands that I really want to like listen to and stuff like that. I like Kurt Cobain, Nirvana stuff. Yeah. And even just getting into the Beatles music, understanding what made them so pioneering, what made them so great,
Yeah, that's a really interesting, very interesting journey you have, sort of hip hop in general. I'll tell you a little story. So my introduction to hip hop, like here's the thing, right? Hip hop has always been a big thing, even up here in Canada, because of Drake and stuff. Because obviously, when he popped out, the Drake music was all over the radio, right? It was 2009. I remember I first listened to his first song that just blew up, right? Best I Ever Had, right? And granted, I don't listen to Drake or any of the big three's music in general now, but like I remember when that song came on, I was just like, my brain was hooked. Then I heard Over, and I'm like, okay, this is it, right?
Right, yeah.
And then Cardinal Offshore, he's a legend up north, because he was sort of like this reggae rapper. He was sort of combining genres. He was sort of like Drake, but more raw, if that can make sense. Chaos was also big up here. He was sort of like, kind of like a sort of Walmart version of Kanye in a way. The way he sort of combined like soul and hip hop, and he had like a rock side to him. He's really interesting. That might be another sort of video, sort of just talking about the sort of kind of like Canadian hip hop before Drake, right? I think that might be an interesting video for you to make.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting.
Another one, really, Kanye's always been a big part of what I listened to, even when I was younger. Stronger was all over the radio, right?
Yeah, me too. Yeah, me too, for sure.
Yeah, and people forget, like, because, are you a Kendrick Lamar fan? I'm assuming.
Yeah, I'm a big Kendrick Lamar fan. Kendrick, Kanye.
All right. But some of the, I don't know, but like some of the takes I've been seeing, really all the takes I've been seeing ever since that whole beef with Drake has been, a lot of it's bordering on pure ignorance. Like, Kendrick's the only one that sells stadiums. But Kanye was selling out stadiums during graduation, right? 3 albums in, right?
Yeah.
He made a whole album based off of arena music, right?
Mm-hmm.
And just seeing these takes, it boggles my mind. Like, it's just disrespects everything that comes before Kendrick and everything that potentially comes after him, right? We don't have to, why do you think there's this, every time Kendrick, seriously, I used to be the biggest Kendrick fan in the world, maybe even bigger than maybe someone like you. I used to, be arguing on the internet all the time. Yeah, he's the GOAT, yada, yada, yada. And you might be thinking, well, the last year or so proves your point. And I'm like, And then now I'm just like, man, I really got sucked into that, man. It's just, I just got disconnected from his music, right? And it's something, it kind of has something to do with, do you listen to Nipsey Hussle?
Yeah, I love Nipsey Hussle.
Alright, so when he died, right, like, it hit me in a way that I didn't expect. Cause, I always like Nipsey. Like, I mean, I loved his feature on like, YG, like, 2016, 2017, right? And 2018, he dropped that album, right? I forgot the name. But their song, like, Hustle Motivate, like, that was, like, I was listening to that song, like, going to school, coming back from school, in the house. Like, that was my theme. Like, I used to play that song all the time. Like, I used to be my NBA 2K song, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And when he died, it bothered the hell out of me. Like, like, of all the people, too, right? I get that life is unfair, but, like life can't be that unfair, right?
Yeah.
He was doing all the right things. He was giving back to the community, and somebody killed him. And I don't want to get too conspiracy oriented, because I don't think you're conspiracy oriented either. But I still think somebody wanted him gone, right?
Yeah.
It's because the world is just that messed up that, like, people just only has to be a couple people that are winning. We can't all just win as a culture in general, right? There always has to be, like, a death that brings sort of somberness and sadness. It pisses me off. It just, I don't know. There's a line in one of Kendrick's songs. This is the Heart Part 5, where there's one line. Like, this is when I started disconnecting from Kendrick. It's like when he says something about, like, he forgives Nipsey's killer or whatever. And I understand, like, that might have been a wordplay, but, like, that shit bothered me. Like, he's your best friend, right? And you say something like that, like, I can't, like, I wouldn't even think of saying something like that, even as a joke, let alone put it on a song, on an album like that, right? So, I mean...
Yeah, I hear you for sure. But, you know... Nipsey was, me and my friend Jared, we were big into Nipsey Hussle.
Yeah.
Like, especially after he passed and stuff like that. You know, I knew who he was kind of from a outsider type of lens. But
Yeah.
after he died, it really encouraged me to delve into his music and stuff like that. Delve into his music and his message and who he was as a person.
Yeah.
And it's very unfortunate, you know, that he did pass away. But you know, I think, you know, the legacy that we leave behind is just equally as important as you know, who we are when we were here, type stuff like that. So a lot of people, they don't have that. They don't get that. They don't get to leave a legacy. They don't get to leave anything behind. They don't get to make their mark on the world. Yeah. So, you know, it is unfortunate that he passed, but the way I think of it is, you know, at least he made something of his time while he was here. A lot of people don't get that opportunity.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
Yeah.
And the album that really got me into, like, hip hop in general was Jesus, right? And it's a weird album in general to get into. But when I first listened to that record, it was 2016, right? And this was like, because I was in middle school, right? And I was having a lot of problems, sort of just like staying focused in school. I had a really big temper tantrum problem, right? It would just spring up. It would be like this. You remember that scene in Spider-Man: No Way Home where, like, it's a Green Goblin mask and William Dafoe is like, he's scared of himself.
Yeah, I get what you're saying for sure.
It was like that. Every time I came up against some type of difficulty, my brain would just shut off and I start acting out. It was really bad. And I'll never forget, I listened to it was On Site. And any other sort of circumstance, any other sort of semantic, I should have hated that song right away. Right? But I listened to it and it's like, it clicked. Like, I have somebody that I'm listening to kind of sort of understands, kind of in a sort of in a weird musical way of what I'm going through. Because Kanye was mad at he was mad at a lot of things, but he was mad at the fashion industry because they didn't accept his vision at the time, right?
Right.
And that whole album is a protest against sort of the kind of that whole sort of kind of like industrial sort of fashion industrial complex, because people don't talk about that, right? Where, you know, people, you can control sort of portions of a population just by fashion, right?
Yeah.
Just like think about how many people, because you can even look what's happening with, again, because there's this sort of, it's become more of a sort of stereotype that like there's certain areas in Chicago where you can't wear Jordans, right? Because someone's gonna see you and they're gonna want that, and they might kill you for it, right? Granted, it's not as, again, as excessive as sort of the media and the conservatives will like you to believe, obviously, but it's there, right?
Right.
So again, there's this line where, again, there's this line on site where like the monster's back or something like that. Yeezy season is approaching. Like I just like, he gets it. Even though there's a likelihood I'll never meet Kanye, and low key right now I don't want to meet Kanye. It feels like he's just spiraling out. He's just spiraling. It's sad to see, but like at that time, it just clicked, and I checked out the rest of his discography, and he just instantly became my favorite artist. He still is, right?
Right.
But and there's another album I listen to. It's not hip hop at all. But have you heard of Lana Del Rey?
Yeah.
All right. Do you listen to her?
No, I haven't really checked out her music. I know I had a song
With The Weeknd.
I heard one time played a song with Playboy Cardi and
Yeah.
ASAP Rocky.
Yeah.
That
Born to Die. It's a phenomenal album, right? And it's sort of connected to a side of me that's, again, because I get upset a lot too back in the day, right? And it's sort of like, it's like a yin and a yang, right? These two records do not sound alike. They don't have the same themes, but to me, it sounded like companion records, right?
Yeah.
I could feel like I'm in the 50s and 60s with Born to Die, but I could feel like I'm fighting Thanos with blood on leaves in the background, right? It's these sort of two swings. And there's this other person. It's a character. Do you watch Teen Titans?
Yeah.
Alright. Well, who's your favorite character from the group?
I would probably say mine is Robin.
Okay. Robin's dope. But mine's Raven. Yeah. Right? Raven sort of combines the abrasiveness and sort of has the melancholiness, right? And it's like a perfect character for me, and it's like, it connects. And I remember I was reading the comics wherever she's in. I remember, and I was just reading it. It's like, man, like we're kind of similar in a way, right? And it's sort of deep connection. It felt like I must have seen her in a past life, type of thing. Obviously, I don't believe in reincarnation and stuff. I don't believe in that shit, right? But it felt like that, weirdly, right? So that's the thing with art, right? It makes you feel things that like you shouldn't really be thinking of feeling in a good way. And I feel like if you love it, if you love art in general, I feel like you should fight for it at all stages, right? Whether you're grassroots or you're at the top, you should continually be fighting for the freedom for people to express their art in a positive way.
Yeah, for sure. No, definitely, bro. I agree with that 100,000%. Art is such, and I feel like it gives you that sense of connection. You know, with somebody who's you never met before, you never even seen before, but because y'all can relate through art or something like that.
Yeah. Or
you can hear their music or see their paintings or something like that.
Yeah.
And you can instantly feel connected. And I think that's the power of art, and that's why I try to study it.
Yeah.
And, I try to be mindful of that when I'm creating myself.
Yeah. I mean, that's why, like, there's obviously, have you heard of the Critical Drinkler?
Who?
The Critical Drinkler. Like, he's like this very, very, like, he's a film reviewer.
Yeah, I heard it, bro.
Alright. Do you notice, like, every single video is always super, super negative? Even the stuff he likes, he's like, I like this, but, right? It's a caveat. And it's sort of like, it's not just him. It's so many other people. It's Mauler, it's Echo Chamberlain. It's like a whole ecosystem of these sort of grifters. Jester Bell as well. Like, these grifters that sort of farming on you clicking on their videos and you are agreeing with what they're saying, or you getting so angry but you keep hate watching, right? And I never like that type of content. Like, you could dislike something, you can sort of dissect it why it's not good or whatever, right? You can even dislike certain actors and actresses, right, for whatever reason. But to just, so like, there's a line between like constructive criticism and personal attacks. And for those people, like, it's either they don't understand that, or they're being very ignorant of it, or they're being very intentional, which I think is really sinister, right?
Yeah.
Because these people have millions of subscribers, right? You know? And that's not even counting people who just watch your videos as a casual thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one person that I think of when sort of this type of topics brought up. And have you heard of Millie Bobby Brown?
Yeah.
All right. Do you notice, right? Like, anytime that she's in something outside of Stranger Things, there's instant hate for whatever she's doing. Whether the movie's good, or it's bad, or it's mid. Like, go online. Do you use Reddit?
Yeah.
Alright. Like, bro, just, like, when you search her name up on, like, subreddits, like, the movie subreddit, or movie critic subreddit, or whatever, it's constant negativity. Right? You want to criticize her as an actress or whatever, go ahead. Right? Go ahead. I have no problem with that. But when you're sort of making shit up, oh, she did this, and she believed in this, and yada, yada, yada. I'm like, what are you talking about here? Right? Because these people preach about separate the art from the artist, but when there's someone they don't like, it's like, it's combined. They can't do that. They're incapable of doing that, which, it boggles my mind. Like, she hasn't done anything to get the sort of hate that she's getting. She's not the only person, too. Right? You notice a lot of, like, look at the Doechii hate. Right? Out of what? Like, it's literally out of nothing.
Yeah.
It's just, it does not make any sense to me. So, like, what's your sort of take on that?
Yeah, I agree. I feel like a lot of the hate for Doechii, it comes from, it's a lot of misogyny,
yeah,
a lot of racism as well.
Yeah,
you can feel however you want about their art, but unnecessary critiques, or I feel like they're based in a lot of the things I see nowadays, bro, are based in jealousy.
Yeah,
they wish they had somebody else's positions. They wish that they were them.
Yeah,
and somebody commented on my video recently. Everybody thinks they're the main character nowadays.
Yeah.
So when they see somebody else that's being propped up, like I had a video about the NBA.
Yeah.
Like Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
They like they won't necessarily become a fan of that person because they believe it should be them.
Yeah.
That's where Jason Tatum is.
Yeah.
But and a lot of artists might feel like, man, why is it Doechii? Why her music isn't that good? Like, but I think Doechii's a talented artist.
Yeah.
I would love to see her do more for the craft. She's one of the few. I know my last video was like about hip hop not having any superstars.
Yeah.
But I see her kind of moving into a pop direction. But I would want her to embrace the art form and stay loyal to the game and continue to be an inspiration for more female artists that are pushing positive message that are but just female MCs in general, because I feel like we've gotten away from the aspect of me and an actual MC. Like people used to take that seriously. Like people used to rappers used to brag about how good of an MC they were, not necessarily about how much they had. Of course, that was a part of it. Yeah. But they would take their skills on the mic just as seriously as they did, anything else, like their clothes or whatever, what have you.
It's interesting you say that, because I feel like the biggest problem about hip hop is not about the music or even the artists in general. I think the biggest problem is that the number one guy in the game, right? Everybody's going to say it's Kendrick. I don't agree with that at all. But whatever, right? He's been there for so long. You notice that ever since Good Kid, Mad City, anytime somebody wants to challenge him or whatever, we instantly shot that person down. We didn't give that person a chance. We just assumed, oh, you get embarrassed and yada, yada, yada. It feels like there's double standards. We judge artists on a whole different spectrum than somebody like Kendrick. And Kendrick's not the only guy, too. It's Drake for a while. It's J. Cole for a while as well. Like, we judge those three, right? I feel like we have lower standards for those three, and we just up the standards for everybody else. And if you're an upcoming artist or whatever, you try to make it to the game, and you're hearing how record labels are just screwing everybody over. You're not making any money on the music you're making. You have to pay everything on your tours. You have to pay for your manager or whatever. And it's like, why do I want to do this? I can get paid more for doing something I may not enjoy, but I have a comfortable life than me trying to risk something. I might get killed for something I not have no involvement in. Right? I'm not saying that's the reality, but there's a line that have you heard Logic?
Yeah.
All right, so there's a line that he said. It was off his No Pressure album. I think No Pressure, right? Album 2020. Great record, by the way. And there's a line that he said where the greatest rapper alive is stacking produce. And I think about that line a lot about this topic because, like, how sort of arrogant are we to assume that there is a greatest rapper that's active in the game when the greatest rapper in the world could be on a city block not even 10 minutes from our house type of thing, right?
Yeah.
There's so many examples of guys who, like, again, I look at Pascal Siakam, right? He's not a GOAT or anything. He's a great player. He started playing basketball at the age of 16, right? He was going to play soccer. He was going to be a goalkeeper, right? But I think he had some type of injury or whatever, and he transitioned to playing basketball. He goes into this sort of small college, and at the very fact he got drafted in the first round, I think does not get talked about enough because that college he went to, I think it was New Mexico or something like that, has no like NBA prospects that got drafted that high. And then next thing you know, he's a bench piece. Then he hit most improved player, second best player on a championship team. He drops 30. He drops like a 30 bomb on Draymond Green in the NBA Finals Game 1. Like we all remember that. And he hits the game clinching bucket, the championship clinching shot. Again, nobody brings that up too, right? And then he proves again, All NBA, All Star. Then he's sort of, I feel like to me, like he's sort of the closest thing to a Kevin Garnett type of guy. I'm not saying he's good as KG. KG is one of the greatest ever, but their career paths are kind of similar in the sense of just like it's kind of in reverse, right? KG was on a bad team, then he became an MVP type of guy. Then he joined a really good team and he wins a championship, and everybody gives him his flowers, right? For Siakam, it's kind of like the reverse, right? People loved him, but when he started to sort of threatened to be a top 10 guy, everybody just went after him for no real reason. And it took until, funny enough, this playoff series, right? Are you going to watch the Pacers game today?
Yeah, I'm tapped in.
Right. It took until this playoff series for people to realize, this guy might be a Hall of Famer. I'm not saying he's going to be a Hall of Famer, but I find that very interesting where our first impressions of somebody are often our last. We don't go in and change information. We don't go in and reassess our opinions. I always reassess my opinion on something all the time, right? Some of my favorite artists right now are some of the most hated artists. I hate these people back in the day, right? One person I really did not like was Miley Cyrus. Do you listen to Miley Cyrus?
Casually.
All right. I never forget, there's a song I came across, I think it was 2022, being 2022, and I developed this big crush on her. I think I always had a little bit of crush on her, but like it was kind of like a hate crush. I hate her, but I can't stop looking at her type of thing, right? And I listened to Bangers. I love that album. That album's incredible, right? I listened to the whole discography. I was shocked how many good songs that I liked, it's to the point where like I'm like she's dropping this album. Forgot the name, but she's dropping an album tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just one of those things. It's like one of many examples of like, you know, I don't let sort of my sort of initial dislike of something override the way that I sort of try to objectively look at something. I think there's a line that I think people forget that, you know, that's why I don't think there really won't be a superstar in hip hop in general, because anytime there's somebody new coming up, it's all they hate, all the think pieces, all the game is the everything's on the line. It's like that's like you guys didn't do it to Kendrick and Cole or Drake. Why are you doing it now? Right? It does not make any sense to me.
Right. But hell yeah, bro. Should I got a couple things I need to attend to for today, bro.
Yeah.
But I appreciate your time, man. I enjoyed our conversation, man. Let's do this again sometime.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously we're at the end of the interview, but do you have any time for like a sort of a bit quick Q&A, sort of a quick sort of little game?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Okay. So so obviously you watch Drink Champs, right?
Yeah, I'm tapped in.
All right. So you tapped in that. So they play this little Q&A, sort of like they kind of pit two artists together, right? And you have to sort of choose either or. Obviously, my switch on it is that you can't say neither or both, right? So you have to say one or the other.
Bet that.
Okay. All right, let's start. DC or Marvel?
Damn, that's all. You already starting off with a tough one. DC or Marvel? DC or Marvel? Shit. I would have to say, I don't know. I say DC just to be a contrarian, just to be different.
Yeah, okay. All right. Lil Wayne or Drake?
Drake now.
Really? Man.
Yeah, I do fuck with Drake. I ain't gonna lie. I can't fuck on Drake.
Kanye or Kendrick Lamar?
Kanye.
Okay. All right. DMX or Tupac?
Tupac.
Okay. All right. Boldy James or Larry June?
Larry June, for sure.
Okay. All right. Millie Bobby Brown or Megan Fox?
Megan Fox.
Okay. Okay. All right. Tom Cruise or Jackie Chan?
Jackie Chan.
Really?
Yeah, bro.
All right. Bruce Willis or Keanu Reeves?
Bruce Willis or Keanu.
All right. Kevin Durant or Kawhi Leonard?
Oh shit. I don't like neither. But I say Kawhi though, because he lame.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Pascal Siakam or Chris Webber?
Pascal Siakam.
Okay.
For me personally.
All right. Steph Curry or Magic Johnson?
Magic Johnson.
Okay. LeBron or Jordan?
Jordan.
All right. Steve Kerr or Eric Spoelstra?
Eric Spoelstra.
Okay. All right. Donovan Mitchell or Anthony Edwards?
I like both. I want to say that I like both, but I'm gonna go with Donovan Mitchell.
All right. Okay. Spike Lee or Jordan Peele?
Spike Lee.
Okay. All right. Raven or Superman?
Superman.
All right. Batman or Spider-Man?
This is a close one too. I know we can't say both neither. Batman.
All right. Okay. All right. Vibes Cartel or Carnal Offshore?
Vibes Cartel.
Okay. You listen to Vibes Cartel?
I checked his. I checked out some of his music for sure recently, especially with him getting released.
Yeah.
So I checked it out. It's cool. I fuck with it. I'm trying to get into more dance hall stuff anyway.
Right. Okay. Bob Marley or Peter Tosh?
Bob Marley.
Okay. Kehlani or Yosemite Shake?
Kehlani.
Alright. Okay. Mariah Carey or Ariana Grande?
Mariah Carey.
Okay. Olivia Rodrigo or Miley Cyrus?
Miley Cyrus.
Okay. Lana Del Rey or Billie Eilish?
Billie Eilish.
Okay. Wow. Haley Steinfeld or Amy Adams?
Amy Adams.
Okay. Wow. Alright. Jason Tatum or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
Yeah, that's tough. Jason Tatum or Giannis? I like them both. I guess I'll just say Giannis for now.
Okay. Jokic or Shaq?
Jokic.
Oh, wow. Okay. Patrick Mahomes or Peyton Manning?
Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Okay. Daft Punk or Justice?
Daft Punk.
Alright. Arca or Kazakhstan?
The second one. I heard some of bro stuff.
Okay.
I just don't know how to pronounce it.
Alright. Beyonce or Prince?
I like both. Fuck. Beyonce. I just said.
Okay. Okay. Stranger Things or Game of Thrones?
Stranger Things.
Okay. Oh. Okay. Method Man or Red Man?
Method Man.
Okay. JPEG Mafia or Def Grips?
JPEG. For
Okay.
sure.
Okay. Alright. Ty Dolla $ign or Nate Dogg?
Ty Dolla $ign.
Okay. Travis Scott or A$AP Rocky?
Damn, that's a tough one. So I'll say Travis just because he dropped music more consistently.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Pusha T or Mos Def?
Pusha T or Mos Def?
Yeah.
Mos Def. Pusha T for me.
Okay. Pharrell or Timbaland?
Pharrell.
Okay. Justin Timberlake or Robin Thicke?
Justin Timberlake, probably.
Okay. Okay. Thinking. Gotcha. Jimmy Butler or Scottie Pippen?
Scotty.
Okay. Alright. Paul George or T-Mac?
Paul George or T-Mac?
Yeah.
Probably Paul George.
Okay. Wow. Jalen Hurts or Justin Herbert?
I like Jalen Hurts.
Okay. Okay. TJ Watt or Micah Parsons?
TJ Watt. Probably TJ Watt.
Okay. 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 Josh Allen or John Elway?
Elway.
Okay. Lamar Jackson or Drew Brees?
Lamar Jackson for sure.
Really? Okay. Aaron Donald or Lawrence Taylor?
I think Lawrence Taylor is better of all time, but I do fuck with Aaron Donald, so I'll just say bro.
Okay. Ja Morant or Baron Davis?
Ja.
Okay. Muggsy Bogues or Jeff Teague?
I fuck with Jeff Teague, bro. So Jeff Teague.
Okay.
Shit, how many more questions you got?
I got a couple more. Okay.
Alright, bet.
Okay. Christopher Nolan or Stanley Kubrick?
Nolan.
Okay. Martin Scorsese or Steven Spielberg?
Scorsese.
Okay. All right. GTA or Last of Us?
The Last of Us right now.
Okay. And this final one. Toronto or Chicago?
In terms of what?
Just the city.
I ain't even been on a plane before, bro, so I definitely can't tell you what Toronto or Chicago is like.
Okay. Bonus one. Okay. Bonus one. SZA or Whitney Houston?
SZA for me personally.
Okay.
Well, I love Whitney Houston.
Double bonus question. Do you have like a celebrity crush when you're growing up or currently? Because I don't know if you have a girlfriend or not.
Say that one more time.
Like, what is your celebrity crush when you're growing up, or it could be one now or whatever?
Celebrity crush. Lotto.
Really?
Lotto's crazy.
Can you name some?
You said what?
Can you like name some of them?
No. I said Lotto, like the musician Lotto.
Okay.
Her or like Mariah the Scientist.
Oh wow. Okay. Mine. I'm gonna keep it brief. Mine. So my top two right now is like Haley Steinfeld and Millie Bobby Brown.
I feel that, bro. Hell yeah. Those not bad choices at all.
Yeah. Real honor to have you on. You're a dope guest, dope interview. Maybe we can like reconvene at a future date, type of thing. I really appreciate you because I didn't think like when I sent that link, I didn't think you were gonna like look at it. I always had to sort of fear like they're not gonna look at it or they're gonna think I'm a scam or whatever. I really appreciate you sort of looking through it, decided we're gonna do it. We just did it, so yeah.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you for having me on.
Yeah. Good luck, man. I'm rooting for you.
Yes, sir. I'm rooting for you too, bro.
Yeah, man. See you later, my man.
See you later, bro.
That was another episode of Renegade Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed that one the same way I enjoyed putting this one together. See you guys next time.